Hello dear fans, friends and subscribers. Finally, the World Cup 2019 has ended with a new winner in the history of the World Cup, and that was the host England. So how fitting it was that the host England, who actually have never won a World Cup before, went on to defeat New Zealand in a match which one would have least expected to have the thrills, spills and the chills that were evident when this particular match, which has never happened in the history of a World Cup final, where the match has gone on to be between England and New Zealand to be tied for the 50 overs. Then it goes into a super over, which again ends in a tie, and finally it was decided that England were the proud winners of World Cup 2019 on the sheer weight of the boundaries. They had scored more boundaries. The calculation was such that it was dependent on how many boundaries that England had scored in total, including the 50 overs and the super over. And in that particular battle, it was England who were outright winners, and that's how the World Cup final was decided after the 50 overs and the super over ending in a tie, and finally it was England who won the World Cup. But as I said, it was absolutely electric atmosphere at the Lord's Cricket Ground. One witnessed such a grand spectacle, and as I said, a final could not have been better scripted than what it was today at the Lord's Cricket Ground, and should be remembered for a long time in the history of World Cup. But well, congratulations to England for lifting the World Cup. I'm very happy for them because it was the host England who were the hosts of the Cup, and besides they have never won a World Cup. They have come into the finals twice, but they have not. And 1992 was the last time they came into the finals in New Zealand and lost to England, as to Pakistan, as we all know, when Pakistan Imran Khan lifted the World Cup. And today it was England who lifted the World Cup for the first time, and congratulations to them and commiserations to the New Zealand cricket team, where one thought that the rub of the green definitely didn't go New Zealand's way, and the rub of the green went the England way, especially in the final bend, where Guptill's throw actually it resulted from 2 runs. It resulted in an overthrow. Inadvertently, one could say that Ben Stokes was trying to regain the crease, and Guptill's throw actually hit the bat of Ben Stokes, and it ran away to the boundary, and that resulted in 6 runs for England, and that I thought really tilted the scales. But again, and that was the precise reason the match finally ended in a tie, and then it went into the super over. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to go and do a description here. I'm just going to talk about the game in a very, very general manner. So let's have a look at what happened here at the Lord's Cricket Ground. Now, the toss was actually very vital. The New Zealand skipper Kane Williamson winning the toss and electing to bat first. And one has to say that both the teams went unchanged in this particular match, and the pitch definitely, as we saw the match between India and New Zealand, that was at Manchester Old Trafford, but this was at the Lord's Cricket Ground, and it was something of a really dishing up something special, whereby in a final match, I would say everything was tilted in favor of the bowlers, with the pitch definitely holding up, not very easy to actually play the strokes. So let's have a look at New Zealand's innings. So New Zealand's innings, Martin Guptill, who has been having a very, very, I would say definitely a forgettable World Cup, barring for that fielding that he did to run out Dhoni and push India out of the World Cup. So Martin Guptill today made 19 runs, once again a failure, 19 of just 18 deliveries, which included 2 fours and 1 6. Henry Nicholls made a very, very impressive 55. He was looking very good. He was nicely keeping the ball on the ground. When he was trying to pull the ball, he was rolling his wrists over, and he played some nice strokes as well. His contribution being 55 of 77 deliveries with 4 boundaries. Kane Williamson contributed only 30 runs of 53 deliveries with 2 fours when this was the partnership which was definitely doing a bit after the early dismissal of Martin Guptill, when the score actually went on to 74 runs partnership that ensued between Henry Nicholls and Kane Williamson, with the ball doing all sorts of tricks there, and that was the good partnership that happened. Ross Taylor was out for just 15 runs. Probably to my reckoning, Ross Taylor would have probably played the last World Cup, but I might be wrong. But he was out for 15 of 31 deliveries. Latham was the one who had to stay till the end to see to it that New Zealand actually reached a respectable score. And in the end, on this particular pitch, 214 for 8, 41 for 8 was a pretty good score according to me. Latham made 47 of 56 deliveries, 2 fours and 1 6 in that. Neesham made 19 of 25, 3 fours. Grandholm 16 struggled. He struggled big time. He was hit by Jofra Archer on the helmet. He was visibly shaken after that, and Jofra Archer kept testing him, and finally the man who actually benefited from this was Chris Stokes, who actually forced Grandholm with a slower delivery, and he gave a team catch to James Wynne's substitute. He was gone for 16. Stanton was not out 5. Henry Boult arch for 4. Trent Boult not out 1. And that was it. 241 for 8 was what New Zealand put on the board. Now, as I said, the bowling was pretty good from the Englishmen. Chris Stokes bowled superbly. 9 overs, no maiden, 3 for 37. Plunkett was the other one who came in, and with that burst of his, in a middle over burst, he ripped out Williamson and Nicholls' wicket. Plunkett 10 overs, no maiden, 3 for 42. Jofra Archer, initially he did a job, but later on, when he came for his death overs, he did a marvellous job, one thought, especially the final death over that he bowled. He was pretty tight. 10 overs, no maiden, 1 for 42 for Jofra Archer. Mark Wood, 10 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 49. Adil Rashid, 8 overs, none for 39. Ben Stokes, 3 overs, none for 20. Now, England were given a target of 242 runs to win from their 50 overs. And as I said, the task was not so easy as it seemed to be. And it was quickly learned. Jason Roy and Jonathan Bairstow could not take much liberties, because the ball was definitely not coming onto the bat as quickly as one would have expected it to be, as I told you at the outset itself. So they definitely had to bide their time at the crease. But knowing Jason Roy, who plays with a lot of aggression, he contributed 17 of 20 deliveries with 3 boundaries before Henry, who did it against India as well, what he did against Rohit Sharma, where he gets the ball to nip back after the ball straightens at the last moment and just moved a shade, and Jason Roy was a goner, feathering it to Latham behind the steps. So that was the quick breakthrough, 17 of 20. Bairstow was pretty watchful, but definitely credit to Bairstow, even though this pitch was not something which was not to his liking, but he still managed 36 runs for 55 deliveries, hitting 7 boundaries. So that was a good effort from Jonathan Bairstow. Joe Root was struggling. Especially Grandholm, who really struggled with the bat, had a very different day with the ball, and he was the main bowler who actually frustrated the Englishman with his style of bowling, where what he did is in one particular over, it was an eventful over where Joe Root was beaten outside the off stump. So Joe Root decided to come down the wicket and try to thrash him, which is a very different thing, because, as I said, Grandholm was the one who was putting the pressure on the Englishmen by throttling them and choking the flow of runs. So that resulted in Joe Root actually attempting a shimmy down the wicket, but that didn't really come through. And in the very next delivery, Joe Root was so, impetuous. In fact, he went on to have a wide drive at a ball which was outside the off stump, and it resulted in his dismissal. That was clearly a case of frustration, with Grandholm and Ferguson at one end really choking the runs of the Englishmen. Joe Root was out for 7 of 30 deliveries, and then it was the turn of Morgan. After making 9 runs, Neesham actually bowled him a short delivery. He went on to the pull shot, and Ferguson took a brilliant catch, diving full length to take the ball, and the England were in real trouble at that stage with Morgan gone 86 for 4 in the 24th over. And now there were two, and Barristow actually chopped on to the stumps of the bowling of Ferguson for 36 of 55 deliveries with 7 boundaries. So that really made it a very tough situation for England, 86 for 4, and knowing this wicket, it was not easy. But the 2 batsmen at the crease were the most dangerous of them, and these were the dangerous batsmen who really buckled down to the real task. And what an innings, 110 runs partnership between these two, Ben Stokes and Buttler, really playing in a very measured manner, but opening up as and when the opportunity was there. And Josh Butler's contribution was 15 out of 60 deliveries, which included 6 boundaries, before Ferguson actually ripped his wicket at the 45th over, with still a long way to go. I mean, they still needed 40 runs, probably at a clip of 11 runs per over. That was the time Josh Butler departed, because it was very essential that Ben Stokes and Butler had to stay in the end. But it didn't happen, and with Butler going, the pressure started building on the Englishman. Butler was out to Ferguson, and suddenly we had a clatter of wickets there. Ben Stokes was the only common denominator out there, battling it out and trying to take it till the final over, and Liam Plunkett was a victim. James Neesham did a good job with the ball. Liam Plunkett, everybody in the quest of runs was gone. Liam Plunkett fell to Neesham for 10. Jofra Archer was clean bowled for naught. Adil Rashid got himself run out. Mark Wood was run out of the final delivery, and the last over was 15 runs. Ben Stokes was making it happen. He hit a wonderful 6 as well, and it looked like England is going to pick New Zealand at the post there, but it was not to be, with Mark Wood getting run out as 2 runs were required of the final ball, and Mark Wood got himself run out. That resulted in a tie with the score 240, with England also mustering 241. So both the teams 241 all out, with Ben Stokes. What an innings from him, not out 84 of just 98 deliveries, which included 5 4s and 2 6s. 241 of all out, and as I said, this was a tie in the 50 overs, and now it was going to the super over. Now, as I said, the one thing that I would like to say here is that definitely in the final over, the benefit was for Ben Stokes, where Martin Guptill actually threw in from the deep, and the ball actually ricocheted off Ben Stokes' bat. Now, this was not something intentional, where Stokes was trying to regain the crease running. He didn't even know that the ball was coming, but Guptill's throw actually hit the edge of the bat of Ben Stokes and rolled away to the boundary, and that was something which was definitely, I would say, it was definitely England's day, because the fortune was favouring England there, as 2 runs became 6 runs, and that made things easy for England, and finally it resulted in a tie. And the bowling figures, if you look at it, Trent Boult was costly today. His 10 overs leaking 67 runs without a wicket. Matt Henry did his job perfectly. 10 overs, 2 minutes, 1 for 40. The Grandhome was the one who, according to me, would have been my man of the match there for his brilliant bowling exploits. 10 overs, 2 maidens, 25 runs and 1 wicket, and that was serious stuff according to me. Ferguson, who has really made a mark for himself in this World Cup, 10 overs, no maiden, 50 runs and 3 wickets. James Neesham, 7 overs, counted for 43, but he picked up the wickets, 3 wickets and some vital wickets in the end stages. 3 overs, none for 11 for Mitchell Santner. Ben Stokes was, and then finally, as I said, this particular, with both the teams tied on a particular score here in the World Cup final 2019, it was the super over that was enacted here at the Lord's Cricket Ground. First, it was the turn of the Englishmen. They had Butler and Stokes walking in, and definitely that was the right choice. There was no doubt about it. The bowling was being done by The ball was given to, I reckon it was Trent Boult, who was the bowler in that stage. And Trent Boult was the one who was bowling to Stokes and Butler. Stokes and Butler managed to get 16 runs of that, 15 or 16 runs, as I reckon, of that, with 1 6 also coming in that particular 6 balls. And then it came down to New Zealand having to hit 16 or 17 runs to go and win the World Cup for the first time ever. But Jofra Archer was given the responsibility. I was a bit surprised when I saw Martin Guptill walk in with James Neesham, because Martin Guptill has been in some horrendous form in the World Cup. But one does not know what was the thinking behind that. But probably the thinking was that they had a left-right hand combination which could confuse the bowler. Yes, that definitely helped, no doubt about it. Jofra Archer was given the responsibility at an young age of 24, a pressure cooker environment. All the hopes holding, the entire hopes of England was resting on Jofra Archer's shoulders as he soldered on, and he went in and delivered the final over. James Neesham, in fact, Jofra Archer started off with a bad delivery. The first one was a wide delivery to James Neesham that resulted in an extra delivery, and the second delivery that James Neesham faced, he actually mowed him down the onside for a fantastic 6. Into the crowd she went, and now it was, and then they started taking a couple of runs in between, which finally brought it down to the climax, as I said, with the final ball coming up. Jofra Archer had to hold his nerve. He bowled. Martin Guptill was on strike for the first time, and it was a matter of Martin Guptill not attempting anything big. He placed the ball. He knew that the field was deep. He actually just placed the ball, and he knew that he had to hair in for the second run. He haired in. Jason Roy was quick onto the ball, relaying the ball to the keeper, Josh Butler. Josh Butler had taken his position outside the stumps in the front of them when Guptill was running in, and it was a real sort of a neck and neck race that was going on as to who is going to win the World Cup. And in fact, Josh Butler collected the ball from Jason Roy, and he actually just dived in and took the bails off, with Martin Guptill absolutely sprawling at the crease, but he could not reach the crease. Up went the umpire finger. The magical figure of OUT, out, came in, and that was history for England, as England went on to win their first ever World Cup. And as I said, World Cup 2019 champions England, congratulations. Wild celebrations were sparked in England today, and the English fans could not thank more. I mean, as I said, the fortune was definitely with England today, especially when the 2 runs when the overthrow came from Guptill, which hit Stokes' bat and raced to the boundary. I thought it was definitely England's day, and it was. And I think, as I said, the script for a World Cup final could not have been written better than what happened today at the Lord's Cricket Ground. Absolutely fever pitch excitement, as I said, thrills, chills and spills. And it was the England captain, the proud England captain, Ian Morgan, holding aloft the World Cup 2019, flanked by all his teammates, as the bubbly was burst on all the players, as the bubbly burst, and that was the end of World Cup 2019. And what a World Cup 2019 we had, especially the final. As I said, commiserations to England, to New Zealand. Unfortunately, for the second time, they have been finalists in the World Cup. Last year against Australia in the Trans-Tasman final, Australia won the World Cup, and this time England won the World Cup. And England have waited 4 years to do this, and finally they have done it. 1992 was the last time that England ever came into a final, but this time in front of their home fans they clinched it. And what better celebration for them than the World Cup 2019. And as I said, commiserations to New Zealand. New Zealand played magnificently. Ben Stokes was named man of the match, and rightly so. And Kane Williamson, the New Zealand captain, the very big, the man who actually I would call him the spirit of cricket, was the one who was named the player of the World Cup, and rightly so, for amassing 578 runs in the tournament. And thus the World Cup 2019 ended we had 7 weeks of tremendous excitement here in World Cup 2019 in England, and I have to say I really enjoyed every bit of it. And I hope, dear fans and subscribers, I have not been able to really do justice as far as this World Cup is concerned, as I said, due to a lot of home commitments, but I tried to do my best on this broadcasting platform. And also, as I said, my Twitter is something which is an open page, and as I said, I've also launched my own cricket website, which is cricket-status.com. So when you find time, you can go in there, see my brief blogs. And yes, I know that I would have disappointed a lot of my friends and subscribers for not coming and doing the semi-finals. As I said, I've been having some serious issues at home, and it was not an easy thing for me to do. Well, again, once again, thanks for all your cooperation, dear friends and subscribers on YouTube, Twitter, and whoever is looking at my cricket website as well. It was a pleasure bringing you this cricket broadcast, and I hope you all loved all my my cricket reports, summaries, and previews on World Cup 2019. Once again, I am leaving you folks here for the final time as far as the World Cup 2019 is concerned, with a big thank you and a big congratulations to the England cricket team. Thank you.